survived a 7-day fast where I drank nothing but water and somehow managed to make it out to the other side without unaliving myself or anyone else in the process. I'm here to tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, and share some do's and don'ts that I would suggest based on my experience. Before I get into the thick of it, let me just put this disclaimer out there. I am not a doctor, and I don't know your specific medical condition. So if you're considering this fast, it is advised that you speak with your doctor first, especially if you're on medications. I'm just here to tell you my experience and what you can take into consideration if you want to do this. Okay, so I've been wanting to do this 7-day fast for several months. After the car accident, as I was researching natural ways to heal, fasting kept popping up. It turns out it's great for the loss of body fat. It can regulate insulin and blood sugar levels, reduce inflammation, get rid of some cells that may be prone to turn into cancer cells, and most importantly for me at the time, it encourages cell regeneration and recycling through autophagy. The bottom line is, when your body isn't busy digesting all the food you constantly feed it, it can dedicate its natural healing capabilities to flushing out toxins and literally rebuilding and healing your body. Also, many spiritual leaders advocate fasting for clearer downloads or communication with your higher self and just mental clarity in general. Despite these facts, I was delaying doing it before because, like most people, I love to eat. And I used to get miserable if I didn't eat after a certain amount of hours. So I had done a 24 or 48 hour fast a couple of times, but I kept putting off the 7-day one. If you've been following my healing journey, you would know that I went from having swelling in my brain and barely being able to walk to being 99% improved and wearing heels after the accident. But I still had some aches and stiffness in my knees at random times, so I knew I wanted to give fasting a try. So that is the first do. Set the intention to commit to the fast and know your why. This is key because if you're just doing it because your friend is doing it, that most likely will not be enough motivation for you to stick to it. On day 2 and onwards, when your belly is screaming at you, you have to know your why and have it right here in front of your face so you can keep going. So that's the first thing you do. Now, at long last, on 12/31/23, I said, okay, today is significant. This is the day. Beast mode on, I'm doing it. And that was mistake number 1. So the first don't is don't jump right in. You need to prepare your body before you begin this. 7 days is a long time to not eat, and especially because I'm pescatarian and admittedly probably don't eat as much sources of protein as I should, I really needed to give my body what it needed to start this journey beforehand. So here's a list of things I would suggest you do before you fast for this amount of days. Number 1 is 1 week before the fast, avoid toxic foods. These are your bad oils, refined flours, and sugars. So all the burgers and donuts have to go. Number 2 is gradually reduce your caffeine intake. This may be hard for some of you, but do the best you can. Maybe by reducing it by 1 cup or even half a cup for the day, that might work. Number 3 is increase your good fats. These are things like ghee, raw nut butter, and avocados. Now the first 3 weren't a problem for me because that's how I normally eat anyway, and I don't drink coffee. But the next 2 I definitely wish I did before. So number 4 is boost your mineral intake. And number 5 is extend your fasting duration. I generally do intermittent fasting with an eating window between 12 and 6 p.m. every day. I should have reduced that gradually so I didn't shock my body by just not eating at all for that length of time. So I'll do better next time. Now, 2 days before you begin your fasting, it is suggested to avoid refined carbohydrates and sugars. This includes bread, pasta, and even fruit. And then you want to increase your protein in vegetables. So eat even more meat and vegetables that are high in protein to help your microbiome and stabilize your blood sugar. For me, I think increasing the mineral intake and protein would have been key because on day 3, I paid for this mistake. Before I get to that though, let me just add, the day before your fast, make sure you're really focused on your why. Write it in your mirror or set an alarm on your phone to go off every couple of hours and decide right now how you are going to deal with your brain when it starts screaming at you that you need to eat right now or else you'll die. You won't, by the way. You will not die, but your mind will convince you that you might. Now, if you tell anyone that you're doing this, some of them may try to dissuade you. So I would encourage you to get at least one friend who will support you and be your cheerleader through this process. Now, my sisters are those cheerleaders for me for everything. But I also had another friend who was planning to do the fast also, and he supported me through my week, and I supported him when he did it. And it helped a lot. And I encourage you to do thorough research. Months before I did it, I looked at a ton of videos on fasting in general, and one of my favorite doctors to learn about fasting from is Dr. Mindy Pelz. Now, especially if you're a woman, she teaches the ins and outs of fasting to help your body heal from various health challenges, so feel free to check her out. I should have watched her again right before I did this, but hopefully you guys can check her out before and you will do it right the first time. Now, my day 1 and day 2 were actually not too bad. I worked out on Sunday, which by the way was a mistake. I drank water though, and I just added some Himalayan salt because it has minerals in it, and when I felt hungry, I just drank the water. By Tuesday afternoon though, I was ready to quit. I was angry at myself for not doing the right prep work before, and I was ready to strangle my sister who kept checking up on me and then going in the kitchen and cooking the most aromatic food that you can think of. I haven't eaten bacon in years, and yet I was so angry that I could not just get a nibble of that bacon. But I went to bed determined to make it through this. Now, Wednesday afternoon, that's when the pain started. Because of the fact that I did not eat enough protein and minerals beforehand, my entire midsection, my abdomen, and my lower back just started to hurt. That workout on Sunday was coming back to bite me because I used heavy weights and really pushed myself. And now my body was like, hey, you broke down your muscles and now we're trying to build them back up and you're not giving us what we need in order to do that. So they were complaining pretty loudly. I could have given up and said, you know what, I didn't do this right. Let me eat and just start the process again. But I was stubborn and I said, this is day 4 of me not eating. And you are crazy to think that I'm going to throw away 4 days when I've made it this far. Now, maybe a doctor would have suggested I stop, but I kept thinking about my why, so I decided to push through. Now, I am emphasizing that this is what I did, and I'm hoping someone will see this before they fast and hear what happens when you do not prepare so you get this right. Alright, so Wednesday evening rolls around, and at this point I decided to add in some electrolytes into my water. I bought some element packets, which are little servings of electrolyte powder that are made to help people during fast periods. It provides magnesium, potassium, and sodium without spiking any levels to break your fast. You can be drinking this from day 1. I just didn't have any. But again, if you prepare properly, you can also plan to drink this in green tea, and you can also add some MCT oil to either the water or the tea. None of these options should break your fast. Now, the element I drank helped to reduce the pain some, but I'll be honest, it was still pretty intense. But I was still stubbornly refusing to break the fast. But I also didn't want to do more damage to my insides than good. So on Thursday, I decided I would get an IV infusion with vitamins and minerals. This option may not be available to everyone everywhere, and I am certainly not saying it's a necessity, but where I live, there are a lot of IV infusion places that can help you get vitamins, minerals, and other helpful things into your bloodstream if you're experiencing a deficiency. A lot of people use it to get over hangovers, or if they know their regular food intake doesn't provide enough nutrients. I spoke to a nurse and she said that this process would help to rebuild my muscles and give them the support they need as they are rebuilding, and it would help me to not break my fasting levels. She checked my blood pressure and other vitals, so I got confirmation that I wasn't dying, and afterwards I mentally felt better about continuing the fast. My next do is know your limits. Know when you need to get some type of support, or even if you need to tap out. Many people just do a 3-day fast, and that's much easier on most people, so it's encouraged that you do some 3-day fasts to get your body used to not eating before you do a 7-day fast. I've done 3-day fasts before, which is why I was okay until Tuesday. But if at any point you start to feel really fatigued and your vision gets blurry, you have brain fog or anything alarming, just eat. Your body is an amazing creation and it can do many things, but you must prepare it for extreme activities, so do know your limits. Alright, so Friday and Saturday were a bit easier. Honestly, I didn't really feel hungry after Wednesday. Once I got the electrolytes in my water, it kind of fooled my brain into thinking I was eating since I got the flavored ones. So as the week went on, I just had the mental reminder around my normal eating times that I wasn't eating. I will admit, I did feel a little weak, so I wasn't able to work out, but other than that, I was able to walk around and do my regular activities. Another thing I did from day one is I meditated every day. As I mentioned before, I wanted to see if I would experience any clearer communication with my higher self or spirit or the universe or whatever it is that you would like to call all that is. So I meditated in salt baths. I did it under a copper pyramid, listened to a certain frequency tone, in complete silence, and oh boy, did I get some downloads. I got specific messages about the path of least resistance to get to where I wanted to go. I got messages about exactly how I'm being supported in this lifetime. And I got messages about how I should navigate certain relationships or partnerships I have at this time. It was quite a revealing spiritual upgrade over the 7-day period, so for that alone, it would have been worth it. And another plus is, I didn't feel hungry when I was meditating, so it was a welcome distraction during those periods. So at the end of the 7 days, although it was a little rough in some parts, I was able to make it with my mind and my body in one piece. So let me go over how I broke my fast or how I started to eat, and then I'll tell you about the physical effects I experienced afterwards. Since I didn't prepare my body well before I paid for it, I made sure that I ended the fasting period properly so I didn't experience any other negative side effects. The first thing I did was drink bone broth. You can choose chicken or vegetable broth, but the idea is to drink a liquid first that isn't just water and will start to give you protein and get your body used to digesting something other than water. I waited 30 minutes, then I ate some kimchi. You want to eat something that will support your microbiome again, so eating probiotics like miso soup, yogurt, or drinking kombucha will help. Then I waited 30 minutes and I ate a prebiotic. I chose steamed broccoli, but you can choose something like asparagus or cauliflower. Then I waited another 30 minutes and had some nuts. You want to choose a clean protein like beans, white chicken meat, or cottage cheese, or something along those lines. All of these things should be fairly small servings, and then you wait 30 minutes and then you can eat a bigger meal of your choice, if you're even still hungry at that point. It is highly recommended that you don't shock your body or undo all the good that just happened by eating cake and ice cream immediately. Your body just did a lot of healing and repair, so please be kind to it and don't literally give it the hard task of cleaning out toxins immediately from your body. Now, speaking of repair work, I did notice throughout the week that every so often I felt a little twinge or tweak in my joints. Not painful, but just like I could feel the energy moving around and feel things shifting and changing in my body. I purposely waited a few weeks after the fast to make this video because I wanted to give my body time to fully integrate the changes and be able to tell if the pain would come back. I'm happy to report that since the 7-day fast, I have not once felt any aching, throbbing, tweaking, popping, discomfort, or experienced any swelling in any of my joints. The pain in my abdomen immediately completely went away as soon as I ate, and I haven't felt any pain in any body part that was injured, which is pretty much everything, from head to toe after the accident since I fasted. I still get some muscle soreness from lifting weights or working out, but I am now able to do lunges and squats with absolutely no pain or popping, and I was not able to do that before the fast. So in conclusion, although it was a bit of a rocky road for me, I 100% benefited from this fast, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. I plan to do it again someday. I'll just make sure I'm fully prepared next time. But in the meantime, I continue to do my intermittent fasting to support regular autophagy and give my body the time it needs without food to help support its regular cycle of healing and cell renewal. I hope this video helps at least one person who's interested in the fasting process to help speed up their recovery and healing process. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. Thanks as always for joining me, and I hope everyone has a love-filled day.